Welcome, everybody, to the Seasons Leadership Podcast, where we are committed to leaders everywhere at all levels who want to make progress on their leadership journey. We will bring you actionable advice to improve your leadership and life today.
Thank you for joining us. At Seasons Leadership, we share a vision to make excellent leadership the worldwide standard. Learn more at seasonsleadership.com. Welcome, everyone, and it's time for summer. Yay!
Yay!
At Seasons Leadership, we use the seasons as a metaphor for leadership and life. We can learn from the natural world and apply this to what we are experiencing to understand the cyclical nature of all things.
And also
Yeah.
where we are in that cycle, right?
Right.
I mean, not just the cyclical nature, which is helpful in and of itself to realize that, yes, everything goes around, comes around, get it. But also, where are we at a given point in time? What are we experiencing? And that it's normal to be
Right.
experiencing it.
Right. Well, it's change, right? Life is change. Nothing remains constant. And no matter how hard we try to do that, I love summer and I want to hold on to summer, but there's nothing I can do that makes it stay.
Exactly. But it's somewhat predictable, that cycle of change, that it's going to
Right.
happen, right? And since we know it's somewhat predictable, why not use it so that we can live the best life we can and get what we want out of that life?
Right. Right. It just, the way that I like to think about this is these changes come in natural, predictable patterns, right? When you're in the middle of a season, and let's talk about a metaphorical season. When you're in the middle of a season, say in your career, it's nice, or what we like to think is like, especially if things are going well, if we're in summer, that this is going to stay the same way all the time. But then as things start to change, you start to feel that shift. It feels maybe a bit chaotic and unpredictable. But if you step back, you think like, okay, this is just the natural way of things. It ebbs and flows. And it's better to ride that ebb and flow than to fight it.
It absolutely is. And that's why you have us. That's why at the beginning of each season, we take a moment not only to remind ourselves, but to remind all of you as our listeners of what each season represents. And in the Northern Hemisphere, where we are located, we are entering summer. And how wonderful is that? At Seasons Leadership, we identify summer with the word cultivate.
Right. I love that word too. Cultivate and fertilize what's going right, right? What we're discovering, our work, our relationships. You can start performing or continue performing and act on new knowledge and weed out those things that don't work for you anymore or just maybe have become irrelevant.
Yeah, weeding, if you think of actual gardening in this metaphor we're using, weeding is something that not a lot of people like to do. It's like, I don't want to go in there and weed things out. And where a lot of people are really not good at it, weeding things out. It's just like, I'm just going to ignore that. Well, what happens if you ignore weeds in a garden?
Yeah.
They choke out the regular plants, right? The plants
Right.
you're trying to cultivate and grow and fertilize and get grow. But you gotta do the weeding.
Yeah.
You gotta weed out what no longer serves you in this
Right.
metaphor.
Well, and using the metaphor, I mean, we were like really pushing on this, right? But in summer, so as things are going well and you're watching your garden bloom and grow, you have to constantly weed, don't you? You can't just
Mhm.
relax.
No, you can't do it once and done. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
You
I
gotta
wish.
be looking at it. Even
Yeah,
though things are going well, everything's blooming, you've cultivated, you're fertilizing, you have to get in there and get those weeds out
right,
regularly.
right. Well, and the thing about summer, which, I think summer might be my favorite season, although every time we hit a season, I think, oh, this is my favorite one too.
You just like change.
I don't mind change, but it's kind of that summer has that summer kind of mindset where things are going well. The idea of it's sunny, you're getting energy, it's fun and relaxing and creative. It's there's that sense of flourishing that whatever you're working on in the summer metaphor season, it's flourishing, it's working well. And I believe like when you're in that, it's like really feel it and really experience it. Really get all you can out of it because it gives energy and it helps you with your action. So it's like really, really reap everything out of it because as we all know, it doesn't last.
Absolutely. And before we get to that downer part of it, it doesn't last.
Yeah.
When you're going through it, it's also what it brings up for me is fun and
Yeah.
happiness and sunshine. And even if it's pouring down rain and I'm having a thunderstorm, it just, I can still feel summer. I can
Yeah.
still feel all this energy and what's going on. And even if I'm working and I've got a lot of work going on, I'm in
Mhm.
flow. I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's bogging me down or it's a lot of work until that change happens. But as
Right.
we've talked about, it is cyclical and it is going to end at some point.
Right.
But we're just at the start of it. So
That's
let's talk
right.
about what's coming up for summer in Seasons Leadership.
Right. Well, if you're a member of our Patreon community and everybody's welcome, you'll get 3 elements during this summer season that will tap into this summer vibe. And all of these are taken from our elemental leadership course. So you get some bang for your buck there. In June, we're going to be talking about accountability. In July, control limits. It's one of
And
my
that's a fun one. It's not what you're expecting.
no, it's one of my favorite ones. And in August, oh, this is everybody's favorite, and I think we'll maybe put a twist on it, is performance measurement and management.
Absolutely. And if you're not already a Patreon member, one of our patrons on there, you can go and sign up at www.patreon.com/seasons leadership.
Yeah.
And you'll also have the added benefit, all of our listeners will, of access to the new Seasons Leadership Elemental Leadership course. It will be getting launched this summer. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, the key themes across summer are using metaphors around summer's energy and natural symbolism to inspire and cultivate new knowledge, nurturing our personal growth and letting go what no longer serves us.
And embracing opportunities for reinvention and fresh discoveries, new stuff coming up. But also, it's important to note that just because we're physically in the Northern Hemisphere again, I know we have listeners all over the world and we're trying to be sensitive to that. In the Northern Hemisphere, since we're moving into the summer season physically, that doesn't mean that we will be feeling the summer vibes or the summer benefits in every part of our life. We can be in different seasons for different things in our lives.
Right. This is really important because people are complex and we can have conflicting and confusing feelings about all different parts of our lives. For example, you may be in summer for your career. It's going strong. You know what you do best and you're leveraging that. You're contributing. You're weeding out the things that no longer serve you or that you just have moved or grown beyond. Um, your significant relationship, however, may be in a different season. So your career is going strong, but your relationship might be in fall or even winter. It's waning and you feel that there's a change coming or you want to change, and maybe it's a big change. Um, and that may be not the summer vibe feeling at all. You may be feeling a bit down about this. Um, that's okay. That's part of honoring whatever season you're in. It just means recognizing where you are and making the choices and decisions that are right for you for that part of your life.
Absolutely. That's how life goes, right? We're in different places, in different parts of our life. And thank goodness. In a way,
Right.
thank goodness, because if we were in the same cycle in everything all at the same time, that would bring its own kind of chaos. And we don't want that
Exactly.
either. So thank
Yeah.
goodness we're complex.
Right. Right. But there's still a way that you can really tap into the summer season. So you might not be overall in the metaphorical summer season in your major life elements, but there is something that is. So think about the different parts of your life. It could be your creative life or your spiritual life or your relationship with a child or a pet. Um, think about that and really bring in that summer energy of fun and creativity and exploration. And while we're enjoying the physical summer season, like pull that into that portion of your life and really bring in that energy and that really good feeling.
Absolutely. And slow down. One thing about summer is you can slow down and ride the wave, as Susan has said often. Savor those simple pleasures, engage in your creativity, your sense of play, in your leisure activities, whatever that means for you. And it's a great time for discovery, as we said, cultivating what you want to get out of life and out of your career and out of any aspect of your life. And, beginning to get ready to harvest those ideas as we
Yeah.
phase into the next season.
Right. So if you have a moment, listeners, listen to our summertime Spotify playlist, get into the mood, have some fun. And if you have a favorite summer song, let us know and we'll add it.
Absolutely. We want this to be a cumulative playlist of everybody. And we haven't had any inputs in a while in that regard. We'd love to
Yeah.
hear from you about what's a favorite summertime song that you'd like us to add to that.
Yeah. So in the meantime, go out, enjoy the summer, cultivate what's important to you, have some fun.
Have some fun, and we will see you back here regularly on the Seasons Leadership Podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us today. We hope that you were inspired by this conversation.
And we invite you to join our community on Patreon. See the link below. There you will find more resources to help you on your leadership journey.
Make sure to join us next time for more conversation about leadership excellence.